And to talk about the back pressure, it's important to understand before how this instrument works. Many people think that the airflow inside of the ditch follow the rules of the fluidodynamics, but this is not true. So I could even explain you how the fluidodynamics works, but we could go in a different way and we risk to lose very much time. So, in this instrument, this is the mouthpiece and this is the bell. And when we play it, we must vibrate our lips, like this. So, with a single beat like this of our lips, we have a positive wave of pressure that moves through the pipe. And it moves in this way. And it arrives at the end. When the wave of pressure arrives at the end of the bell and it goes away for some centimeter, I don't have a specific dimension because this is dependent from the diameter of the bell. So, we could say about 5-6 centimeters, we have the wave of pressure that start to move at 360 degrees. So we have the pressure here that start to move in this way. Like if we throw in a lake a stone, and we have the circles of pressure. So we have concentrical waves, and between the waves we have the lower pressure that will be sucked in the didgeridoo, and it moves backwards in this way. At this moment, when the negative wave of pressure arrives to our lips have to be closed. So the pressure, the negative pressure, bounce back through the pipe again. And when arrive here again, so a few centimeters ahead, we have again circle of pressure. This time negative pressure. So when it arrives here, we have the positive pressure that is sucked by the pipe, and it moves back till the lips. In this way, the positive pressure arrives when our lips are opened. And this is the perfect resonance. So we must make our lips working in this way, with a perfect resonance with the pipe. This means that if I play a didgeridoo with the right resonance, and so if I get the right basic drone, the sound of the basic drone came out like this. In this way, my lips are well synchronized with the wave of pressure through the pipe. But if we don't get the right basic drone, so if our lips are a little bit looser, we obtain again a basic drone with a sort of noise that sounds like this. So this is an amount of air that passes through our lips without generating sound. And so in this way we lose more air than if we play with a correct basic drone. Or otherwise, sometimes, especially beginner, use a fundamental that is a little bit higher. So the pitch is a little bit higher than the resonance of the ditch. And you can recognize it because the sound came out like this. Okay? In this way you lose a little bit less air, but anyway, the basic drone is not correct. So, if we are well synchronized, we consume less air for several reasons, but the main reason is when we open our lips here, we have a positive pressure that comes through our lips, and this fight to the flow of air that we are pushing inside the pipe. So, if we are well synchronized, we have an help from our didgeridoo to continue to play. Many players recognize that at the beginning, even if they found pretty difficult to find the correct basic drone, as soon as they were able to get it, it seems like if the didgeridoo was helping us to continue to play with that vibration. And this is it. It's true. It's not just a feeling. It's not just something that we feel, but it is not real. It is real. This is the way many other instruments make vibrate the wooden reeds, for example. Saxophone, oboe, or I don't know the name in English for cornamusa, or other kind of instrument like launetas. Every instrument, they have reeds, they beat to the mouthpiece of the instrument are moved by this kind of rule. And for example, the clarinet, if I imagine a clarinet like a didgeridoo, I can even drawing it here. So if I continue the didgeridoo in this way, and the clarinet is a sort of pipe with some holes, the wave of pressure moves from here and goes ahead. If I put my finger here and I close the hole, the wave of pressure is obliged to arrive here, and then to change the sign of the pressure and to come back. So it has to make a longer way, and so the pitch of the note goes down. Okay? If I push another finger here and another here, I have to make a longer way. So this is the way we could tune a plastic pipe, or where to make holes in a clarinet, for example. But I don't suggest you to try to make a clarinet because it is very too much complex. So how can I increase the back pressure, or in which cases I can damage the back pressure? Given that at present we know how it works, we can even imagine what can happen if I modify this shape. This is why I used this cylindrical shape, because it is a sort of ideal shape, and it has no obstacles. So it has nothing that can fight with the wave of pressure and the way they have to make. But yeah, I can design some shapes. So it is important, first of all, that the wave of pressure is able to come back to our lips. But first of all, we need an instrument that is able to collect more pressure that goes back to our lips. In which ways? We have several ways. So one way is to make a conical shape. If I make a conical shape, for example, I can collect and then I can take back more pressure because it is collected by a bigger diameter of the didgeridoo bell. But it is not the only way to make it, to collect more pressure. I could even modify the shape of the bell in this way. In this way I can collect even more pressure, for example. Moreover, the wave of pressure that moves back to our lips is obliged to move and to be collected in a smaller diameter than before. So we have a huge amount of pressure. So this instrument is pretty good for having a good back pressure. I will continue in this way and giving you more example about how to increase the back pressure. But first of all, I have to say something. Don't think about back pressure only, because this can make a really bad didgeridoo. We always have to moderate and to balance the back pressure and the sound quality. It is very important. It is very easy to demonstrate so, because I never made a didgeridoo in this way, with a huge cone, with even bigger bell, with this kind of shape. This is the shape, for example, for some instrument, like a trumpet, for example, trombone, tuba, and so on. But it was implemented in the saxophone as well. And if you don't know why the saxophone was made with this bell, it is important to know that in the past, Adolf Sax, when he invented the saxophone, he had an important need. And the need was, in a big orchestra, every trumpet, he needed 5 clarinets to have quite the same volume. So the volume, the sound volume of 5 clarinets was pretty the same of 1 trumpet. So he said, why don't I make an instrument that sounds quite like a clarinet, but with an higher sound, a higher volume. And so he created a conical shape with this kind of bell. So I don't say to you something new. I'm just saying to you something that we must know, that is possible to find somewhere around, but people, they don't know so much in the didgeridoo world. Or this is what I see very often in forums, Facebook and so on, and especially students. So if I want to increase the back pressure, I could have this kind of shape with this kind of bell. This kind of bell is even useful for to push the volume in one direction. It's something like the car lights. The car lights have a specific shape, like this. Here we have the lamp. This is able to collect, you know, a lamp has the light that moves in every direction. But for us, it's important to make lights in just one direction, because we need light on the street, but not everywhere around. So we can collect the light in this way. in one direction, and so on. This is what we make with the sound. When we have the wave of pressure that is going out from our pipe, the pressure, instead of going in every direction, so even in this direction and in this direction, it's not able to do it again. So when it moves in this way, it is bounced back in our front direction. So why I don't use this kind of bell, for example? I could use it, but I don't use it for two main reasons. The first reason is, if I have this diameter that is about 10 centimeters, this dimension has to be about 25 centimeters. So to me it's too much. If I want to carry this instrument around, it is a mess. If I make it with fiberglass, it is even possible to do it. But if I do it with wood, I need a really huge piece of wood, or I have to glue some other pieces of wood around the bed. And someone could say, okay, but if I want a very nice didgeridoo, I can even deal with this kind of dimension. Yes, it's true, but with this shape, you also have a very brilliant sound. Sometimes too much, and you have too much amplification, even of some harmonics and inharmonics components of the sound that I don't like it so much. So this is why I don't use so much with this kind of bell. But it is even possible to do it. Just simply try it. And there are even points where we could make mistakes making some shapes. I could make, for example, a striction, a narrower part like this. People think it works, and sometimes it works. It could work if you do it closer to the mouthpiece, like this. Why this works for increased back pressure? The back pressure is still the same, but if we have our mouthpiece like this, and we have our lips, if we have this kind of shape, we can move the pressure in the center of the portion of the lips that are inside our mouthpiece. So the feeling that we have is to have a bigger back pressure, because the pressure arrives in the center of our lips. If we have a larger mouthpiece, like this, for example, so we have the higher pressure here. If we have a bigger mouthpiece like this, you have to imagine that the quantity of back pressure is still the same, but it is spread in a larger diameter. If we have a larger diameter of the mouthpiece, we spread again the pressure in a larger surface. So we have higher, a little bit lower back pressure, and even lower back pressure again. And one of the worst mistakes is to have a mouthpiece made in this way. So we are in the green case, and our lips maybe works on the red area here. So the back pressure, the pressure that comes back to our lips, is obliged to to touch the internal surface of the mouthpiece and to bounce back without any improvement or increasing or without any feeling from our side, because we don't touch and we don't feel, and even the air in our mouth is not able to try to fight with the two wave of pressure. The pressure in created by our mouth fighting to the wave of pressure that moves from inside the pipe to arrive here. So we have some pressure that does not work at all because just bounce back touching the wood or the fiberglass or what else, and some other that we feel when we make the circular breathing. Anyway, I never make this kind of shape. If I need a larger pipe, I prefer to have something like this, maybe. This could help to concentrate the back pressure in the portion of our lips that are working to create the fundamental or the tooth, for example. Anyway, usually this kind of shape has a less back pressure. But again, even if I don't use so much this kind of shape, there are some guys they prefer to play with larger pipes for several reasons. Because a larger pipe can give you back a different sound. Usually is a bit warmer sound, for example, or you can play with beatbox, or you can have better vocals. But it is not necessary to exceed in this dimension to have a good quality of sound. So I prefer to do not exceed with dimension. If someone asks me, I prefer to listen him playing, maybe with other instruments, because I don't want to make a didgeridoo that is too large and is not able to play it. But it is even used. So, as you can imagine, there is no a single rule just to have the back pressure as higher as you can, because you risk to have a poor quality sound. So, it's important to understand the modification of our instruments. They are able to increase our back pressure, or if I need a shape to create a sound, that is the best way I think, the back pressure. So if I want to obtain that kind of sound, I even have to know that I risk to lose a part of the back pressure. So if I know where I lose the back pressure, I can even work to modify the shape of the didgeridoo, avoiding to lose unnecessary back pressure. Because it is even important to have a nice didgeridoo that you can play it very, very easily. This is very important. Otherwise, it is very frustrating. So, I don't make modification to increase too much the back pressure, but I try to avoid modification that can really damage the back pressure without any advantage. Okay? So, coming back to the pressure, the wave of pressure that moves inside the pipe, I want just to give you some tips. Imagine what happens if we create bubbles like this. Sometimes they are useful, sometimes they are not. The video risks to become too long, so I just leave you with this idea. Try to imagine what happened to the wave of pressure that arrives at this point and go through it. Maybe I will make another video of this point, but first of all, these arguments are the arguments I usually teach in a larger amount of time. So we usually spend one day, the entire day, to talk about theoretical stuff, about how to tune the basic drone, how to tune the tooth, and so on, how to tune the harmonics inside of the inside the color tone of the didgeridoo, and what happened if we change dimension and so on. And so we can even design the shape, and we can even create a didgeridoo like we need. So we think about the sound, and we have to create the same didgeridoo at home as soon as we finish the workshop. So I have a workshop where I teach how to make didgeridoo from wood and from fiberglass, and students during the workshop learn how to make it, and just a simple shape, because they have no knowledge, so they are not able to design a new didgeridoo like they want, but they learn how to work with wood and with fiberglass, and they learn how to design a didgeridoo that fit their needs. So the color tone, the distance between basic drone to the tooth, the overtone that create the entire color sound of the didgeridoo, and so on. And they are able to come on and to make a design of their didgeridoo and to create it. And some guys obtained very good results. Some of their didges are very, very nice. So thank you very much for your attention. If you like, subscribe the channel. If you liked this video, please thumb up. If not, thumb down. And let me know what you think about this topic. Did you know about it? It is something very simple for you. Something was unclear. Just please let me know. Thank you very much. At the end, you will find the name of the guys. They send me some donation and that I use to implement the tools, instruments, software, and so on to create new videos. Thank you very much. See you for the next video.